Hi there, this is Richard, your host, with another marvelous video. The Anaconda movie series has slithered its way into the hearts of thriller enthusiasts in the late 1990s. The movies brought life to nature's most terrifying predator, who quietly lurks in the water, waiting for its prey to walk toward it. What started as an adventure in the rainforest quickly turned into a nightmare. When the first movie was released in 1997, the series soon became a cult favorite because of its survival of the fittest trope and the fascination of the giant anaconda unleashed on the big screen. As the installments progressed, so did the lives at stake, as the unsuspecting victims faced the slithering antagonist. Whether it's the Amazonian rainforest or the uncharted territory of Borneo, the Anaconda movies promise unforeseen twists and an exhilarating journey where survival is anything but guaranteed. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, well, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Anaconda, 1997. The 1997 Anaconda movie begins with a disclaimer in ominous red font on a black screen. We're informed that anacondas are usually found in the Amazon basin and can grow as long as 40 feet. But wait, there's more. These deadly predators vomit their previous prey when they crave a new lunch and make another kill to eat again. The scene then shows a blood-red sky, where we see a poacher shivering with fear and looking over his shoulder in the middle of the water. He hysterically tries connecting with someone over his radio when an unseen creature breaks his boat. However, the poacher chose to end his own life rather than become the creature's prey and shoots himself. Although a brief scene without much context, the poacher sets the tone for the dangers lurking in the jungle. A film crew then embarks on a mission to film a documentary seeking the elusive Shirishama tribe in the deep Amazon rainforest. The members of the crew were the fearless, determined director Terry Flores, the knowledgeable anthropologist professor Dr. Kale, Terry's friend and the crew's cameraman Danny, the boatkeeper Mateo, who was guiding the crew through the Amazon waters, Gary, the sound engineer, his girlfriend and production assistant Denise, and Warren Westridge, the prim and proper British narrator of the documentary. As the crew navigates the dangerous Amazon River and braves the turbulent weather, they rescue a stranded Paraguayan snake hunter on their boat, unaware of the trouble they were calling on board. The man introduced himself as Paul Cerrone and claimed he could help them find the Shirishama tribe. The following day, the group stumbled upon a snake totem, to which Cerrone tells that the Shirishama people worshipped snakes and considered anacondas as gods and their protectors. Cerrone's presence is unsettling for the rest of the team, and soon conflict arises on the boat when Kale clashes with Cerrone concerning Shirishama lore. Later, while trying to free the boat's propeller from the rope, Kale is stung by a poisonous wasp, which leaves his throat swollen and unconscious. Cerrone saved Kale's life by performing an emergency procedure on him, which allowed him to breathe again. With Kale now incapacitated, Cerrone suggests that they take a shortcut to get him to the hospital. With no choice left, Terry goes along with Cerrone's advice. Along their way, they literally hit a wall, which Cerrone suggests blowing up with dynamite. They blew the barrier, disturbing the river's creatures and filling the boat with baby snakes. Next, they come across a wrecked ship, and Cerrone suggests searching it in the hope that they can find something useful. Danny, Mateo, and Cerrone search the boat, which was the same poacher's boat we saw at the movie's start. An old photograph on the boat revealed that Mateo, Cerrone, and the dead unnamed poacher knew each other and were once working in cahoots to catch animals, including snakes. The trio decided to leave, but Mateo seemed preoccupied. While leaving the boat, he slipped and fell into the water, where a giant anaconda suddenly emerged from the water and coiled around him, crushing his bones so hard that he couldn't even scream. The close-up shot where the anaconda opens his mouth to swallow Mateo could make anyone shudder in pain. Then Cerrone tells the group that anacondas are sprawling in the jungle and the river, and their dear captain might have just become its food. He tells them more about this lethal predator capable of catching its victims, but it's no easy death. First, the snake coils around them, suffocating them. Then comes the bone-crunching sound, and it's then that the light leaves their eyes. However, the crew waits for Mateo to return, oblivious that he's already met his maker and has become the anaconda's evening snack. Gary sides up with Cerrone to catch the snake, and in return, Cerrone promises to help them escape the jungle in one piece. Gary also suggests they could film Cerrone, capturing the anaconda alive and salvaging their documentary. Danny opposes their plan, but Cerrone shows his true color when he fires a gun close to him. He becomes the boss of the boat, and no less than a hostage on their own boat, the crew is forced to help him hunt down a giant anaconda. While hunting for the snake that night, the anaconda attacks the boat. Cerrone attempts to subdue it with a tranquilizer, but it seems he underestimated the snake's prowess. While trying to save his girlfriend, Harry becomes the creature's next victim as it coiled around him. Terry attempts to shoot the snake to save Gary from its grasp, but Cerrone resists, and the snake crushes Gary to death in front of the whole group, leaving Denise devastated. There's a shot here underwater, where we can see the outline of Gary's body inside the Anaconda, which forebodes that the crew is far from safe, neither above the water with Cerrone around, nor under the water where the beast lurks silently. Each attack is a heart-pounding moment, a dance between life and death, as the crew battles the monstrous snake and their own fears and rivalries. Having had enough of Cerrone ordering them around, the crew manages to overcome him and tie him up. The following day, Terry finds the newspaper clipping from the poacher's boat and puts two and two together. She calls out Cerrone on the big ruse he played on them before stepping on the boat, from being stranded to having Cale bit by the wasp and then assuring them to know the way to the hospital. The group, having had enough adventure for this life, decides to turn back on their way home. However, their boat gets stuck at a waterfall, and Terry, Westridge and Danny enter the water to winch it loose. On the boat, Denise confronts Cerrone about poisoning Gary's mind and blames him for his death. She attempts to kill Cerrone, but he strangles her with his legs and shoves her body into the water. Just then, the Anaconda returns, and Westridge tries to distract Danny and Terry so that they can get on the boat safely. He then tries to climb the waterfall, where we see the Anaconda's silhouette beyond it. On the ship, Danny and now a freed Cerrone fight while Terry tries to shoot Cerrone. When Westridge was about to fall into the water, the Anaconda lunged and coiled around him. The long shot shows the Anaconda wrapped in a tree branch while it's coiled around Westridge. The tree uproots and falls on the boat while the Anaconda and Westridge plummet into the water, with Westridge meeting his tragic end. While helping Danny out of the water, Terry sees Denise's dead body in the water. With Westridge dead, the snake's next target is Danny as it strikes him with its jaws gaping wide and aiming for his life. But Terry raises her weapons, shoots the serpent square in the head, and saves Danny from becoming the snake's next meal. Cerrone, enraged at Terry for killing his hunt, attacks her, but is stabbed with his own tranquilizer dart by a weak but conscious Cale. Soon after, Cale loses consciousness, and Danny throws Cerrone into the water. The two surviving members, Danny and Terry, come across an abandoned shack and get off the boat to search for fuel. The constant hissing in the background forewarns that the terror of the Anaconda is far from over, but the snakes aren't the only ones creeping on them. Cerrone soon catches up and captures them. He ties them up, dumps monkey blood on them, and sets them up as bait to lure the serpent. Soon, the Anaconda appears and coils around Terry and Danny. They're caught in a net by Cerrone, but the snake frees himself. An agitated snake heads towards Cerrone and attacks him. While Danny and Terry try to untie themselves, the snake coils around Cerrone. When the snake opened his wide mouth open to swallow Cerrone, we could see the harrowing sight of Cerrone getting sucked inside the snake. While Cerrone is swallowed whole by the serpent, Terry and Danny free themselves. While running from the snake, Terry finds a nest filled with baby anacondas, but the snake arrives and regurgitates its previous victim, Cerrone, still blinking and gasping in front of a horrified Terry. Danny and Terry trap the Anaconda in the shack and manage to blow it up, but it seems the Anaconda still had much fight left in it, as an explosion couldn't even kill it. The explosion sends the snake flying out of the shack, but it strikes again, only this time deadlier. Although the survivors live to tell the horrifying tale, the Amazon leaves them forever changed, where they witness not only the predatory anaconda's unsatiated hunger for food, but also the lengths humans could go to satiate their hunger for greed and money. Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, 2004. Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid takes us on a journey right into the heart of the Borneo jungle. From the very first scene, we're made aware that the world of the jungle is something humans still have no power over, and danger comes in every form. We see native tribal people waiting to make their hunt, but in turn, they're hunted by a giant reptile who establishes that humans are still not the boss of the jungle. The scene then shifts to New York City, where we see people clad in suits with pensive faces, discussing a new drug that could cure everything from the common cold to cancer. That seems a stretch. After much sciencey gibberish, they talk about a rare flower that contained a chemical that supposedly could give people longer life, a discovery more significant than Viagra's. It's a botanical jackpot indeed. Thus, a team of researchers set out on a quest in the deep wilderness of Borneo to find a rare sacred flower called the blood orchid. The extraordinary flower bloomed once every 7 years and was believed to be a fountain of youth. Yep, you heard it right. The blood orchid is believed to grant a longer and healthier life, and who wouldn't want that? Funded by a New York pharmaceutical firm, the team includes the ambitious leader, Dr. Jack Bryan, who's driven by the aim of potential fame and fortune upon discovering the rare flower, the realistic and corporate Sue Gordon, the strong-willed and brave Sam Rogers, the assertive researcher who doesn't mind speaking her mind and ruffling some feathers, Gail Stern, the tech geek Cole, and the team doctor, Ben Douglas. They're led by a rugged, no-nonsense guide, Bill Johnson, who knows the jungle like the back of his hand, and his partner, Tran Wu, an expert navigator of the dangerous water of Borneo. As the gang explores the wild, the team's journey is riddled with perils, and the danger intensifies at every step. Early on, a crocodile attack signals the jungle's predatory nature, warning the crew of the uncharted roads they were on. When Gale falls into the water and is about to become a crocodile's lunch, Bill, like a Tarzan on steroids, heroically jumps in to save her and fights the croc with nothing more than his trusty knife. This showcases that nowhere is safe in the jungle and foreshadows the presence of even more significant threats. To cut their journey short, Jack pushes the captain to take an unsafe route, but their moment of relief is short-lived. The expedition worsens when the boat is swept over a waterfall and breaks apart, leaving the group high and dry or in the water. While Sam tries to swim ashore, we see a glimpse of the slithering reptile in the water, enough to give us the chills. Now stranded, they go to Bill's friend, Livingston, on whose boat they plan to resume their expedition. But with the boat destroyed, they had no option but to walk through the jungle. They later walk through the water, heightening their vulnerability and desperation when they first encounter the giant Anaconda. Described as the freak of nature, the monstrous snake emerges from the water with its jaws unhinged and catches Ben off guard. The snake strikes him with lightning speed and claws around his body before swallowing Ben whole. Although the rest of the team manages to reach ashore, they shudder in fear and utter shock. Well, can you blame them? Their scientific expedition just took a nightmarish turn. Gale, who was until now the most motivated to get to the orchid, decides to call off their little trip, prioritizing the group's well-being over money. But there's always one friend in the group who can convince you to do something you'd rather not do. Well, here it was, Jack, who tries persuading the team to get what they came for and laments his friend's death in the same breath. Whatever gives you a good night's sleep, Doc. However, the majority decides to stop the expedition, reach Bill's friend's boat, and be on their way home. They found the boat, but it was wrecked, and no one was on it. But unbeknownst to them, Bill's friend Livingston had a run-in with the Anaconda, and let's just say it didn't end well for him. The group then decides to find a village of a native tribe and request them to lend them their boat. Man, this is one optimistic bunch. But soon, the morale went downhill when they saw Livingston. Not so living and mutilated. The jungle, once a place of wonder, becomes a battleground for survival. The team stumbles on the village of horror, only to find the aftermath of the Anaconda's presence. A chilling night awaits them as they discover a giant disemboweled anaconda with a human's legs dangling from its belly, reminding them they're in the serpent's domain and hungry. While building a raft, Jack discovers an orchid, and the team speculates that the snakes are unusually gigantic because they've been feeding on the orchid. The flower has made the anacondas live more than they usually do, thus they're bigger, faster, and more powerful. Although the discovery is exhilarating, the team decides it's not worth their life and bounces as fast as possible. However, Jack still hung up on finding the orchid and betrays his team when he prioritizes his gain over the group's safety. You know, he wouldn't mind sacrificing a few along the way. He steals the raft, leaving his crew behind to fend off the anaconda. After saving themselves from the snake attack, the group decides to get what was theirs, the raft. They decide to go to the orchids because that's where Jack is heading. Along the way, they wade through water into a tunnel, and now it just seems like one long, never-ending trip. Suddenly, we see Cole called up by the anaconda, dangling from a tree. We hear his bone crushing, and just like Bill's monkey wishes him to be saved with those big anticipatory eyes, I'm sure we, as an audience, wish the same. Jack and the group successfully locate the blood orchid, but they realize the anacondas guard the orchids and are hungry. While the Let's Get Eaten by Snakes Express halts on its last station, they're now not just chasing a flower, but fighting for their lives. Give the movie a watch because this jungle has teeth, and they're razor sharp. But my question remains, should we ever trust a waterfall again? Anaconda 3 Offspring, 2008. The movie begins in the heart of Romania, where the animal hunter Stephen Hammett leads a group of researchers in the wild forest when a giant anaconda attacks them. Although Hammett managed to slay the creature, the grisly attack left the survivor asking God for help, while Hammett laughed it off like it was just another job. The ultra-rich but terminally ill CEO of Wexel Hall Pharmaceuticals, Murdoch, has set up a secret genetic laboratory as a pet project where we see an enormous female anaconda held captive. The project, headlined by Professor Kane and Dr. Amanda Hayes, has developed a magic serum from the blood orchid, the same extraordinary flower retrieved from the jungles of Borneo. However, it only worked on snakes and was lethal when tried on humans. But Murdoch was desperate to make the serum work on humans as he didn't have much time on his hands and was dying of cancer. Kane tells Murdoch that the serpent has reacted very well to the blood orchid extract and thus has lived longer than their life expectancy and grown this massive. But the main attraction, or the miracle of science, the way they'd like to put it, was a male anaconda. By now, we all know well enough from movies like these that genetically altering anything never ends well, especially especially for us humans. This altering of DNA and regular dosage of the serum has made the snake smarter, stronger, faster, and way more meaner than your typical hissing buddies. It also had a triple-spiked tail, which he uses frequently. A genetic marvel that turned malevolent in no time. Well, we'll get to that part later. Murdoch agitates the male anaconda with a large flashlight, which sends him into a violent frenzy. The reptile breaks the glass enclosure and begins his killing rampage, swirling around his dagger-like tail. Well, that was bound to happen because of Murdoch's cost-cutting. And also, that's what usually happens every time humans create monsters in a lab. Remember Frankenstein and his monster? But that's not all. Kane and Amanda discover the male anaconda has also freed the queen anaconda, making the situation deadlier. The male anaconda sneaks up on them. He attacks Kane, claws around him, and bites Kane's head off with his strong jaw. The lab supervisor, Pincus, calls in Hammett and a team of hunters to capture the snakes on the loose. Amanda and Pincus accompany them on the search. The scene shifts to a farm in the woods where the anaconda gulps down a living farmer who becomes the serpent's gruesome meal. The hunters reached the party a little late and found the snake's skin, which only meant that the snake had grown in size. During the first confrontation with the snakes, one of the members is impaled by the mutant anaconda knife tail while another loses his head. Literally. Let me tell you, blood squirting from a headless body is certainly not a scenic sight. The attack also destroyed one of the vehicles. Just when Amanda is about to become the next victim, Hammett arrives, firing his gun at the creature. With a new plan of action to catch the slithering serpent, the group split into two. As the search intensifies, one after another, every member of the group is devoured by the snake. The mutated snake not only had a shiny spiked tail instead of a regular one, he could also spit toxic poison from his mouth. And yes, Amanda might have just seemed to forget to mention the teeny tiny information that the queen snake was pregnant and would give birth to more genetically special baby anacondas in less than a day. When Amanda suggests calling in the military to control the situation better so no more innocent lives are lost, Hammett threatens her with jail time for her role in genetically modifying the snake. But it was later revealed that there was more than the eyes meet. Hammett wasn't only capturing the snakes to prevent them from wreaking havoc, but he also allied with Murdoch, who wants a live baby anaconda. With the alliance shift and Hammett no longer working for the greater good, the responsibility to prevent the snakes from taking more lives on their way falls on Amanda's shoulders. With the fate of humanity relying on Amanda, who's willing to risk it all, even her life and limb, will it be enough? Well, watch it to find out. Anaconda's Trail of Blood, 2009. In the aftermath of the previous film, a baby anaconda is captured at the end of Anaconda 3, Offspring. Anaconda's Trail of Blood picks right up where the previous installment ended. Peter, a scientist from Wexel Hall, experiments on the baby and creates a hybrid by combining the blood orchis from Borneo with a cell regenerating serum, which allows the anaconda to grow and live longer. To his utter surprise, it works. When Peter cuts a baby anaconda in half, it swiftly regenerates into a new one. But when Peter disappears, the hungry captive anaconda breaks the cage and escapes. The anaconda ultimately kills Peter while he's collecting more blood orchids. Murdoch, the ailing billionaire, still seeks the serum to cure his cancer. Some people just don't learn from their past mistakes. Murdoch hires a ruthless assassin, Eugene, clad in black from head to toe, and his band of henchmen to get hold of Peter and find the serum. Dr. Amanda Hayes, the sole survivor of the previous snake attack, with two cops, also sets out to atone for her part in bringing the slithering horror to life. She planned to steal the orchids before Murdoch's men did and kill the snake once and for all. As Amanda and the officers explore the deep woods, they come across Alex, a lost trekker who comes to see a dig nearby for his paleopathology project. They come across enough mutilated animals with their intestines outside their bodies to realize the snake is not too far. Amanda finds Peter's mine, where he's been growing hybrid blood orchids that are twice potent. She sets explosives to blow up the place, but before she can go through, they're attacked by the snake, who seemingly kills both the officers. Amanda traps the snake in the mine and assumes it to be dead. However, an oblivious Amanda doesn't know that the serum has immortalized the snakes. The snake can now only be killed by seriously damaging its internal organs. Amanda, while escaping the mine, slips and is knocked unconscious while Alex leaves to seek help. Meanwhile, a separate group of explorers, including Jackson, his girlfriend Heather, Heather's best friend Wendy, and brothers Scott and Patrick, make the way to the base camp in the wilderness. They find their friends dead in their tent, which creates a sense of hysteria and fear among them. In some other part of the jungle, the assassin crew was on the lookout for Peter and Amanda, unaware they were about to pay a hefty price in exchange for some cold, hard cash, their valuable lives. Later, when the anaconda chases Amanda and Alex, Jackson's group and the assassins look at it with disbelief and can barely believe their eyes. While Amanda, Alex, and Jackson's group decide to leave the jungle and its mayhem behind, they're captured by Eugene. He kills Wendy and Patrick and warns Amanda to give up the serum's whereabouts. On their way to find the serum, Eugene's henchmen are killed one after another by the snake. Although Amanda manages to blow the snake to bits with a gasoline tank, it regenerates again and comes back back to life. Back at the camp, Murdoch, who had funded this nightmare, appeared to claim his fountain of life, the serum. But we already know evil people are never loyal to anyone except their malicious intent. Eugene, who now sides up with Murdoch's rivals, is ready to kill his ex-employer for the right price. A fight ensues, and Murdoch now demands Amanda to part with the serum in exchange for her life. Amanda hands over the serum to him. When Murdoch injects himself with the serum, it surprisingly works and cures him. But bad people don't get a happy ending, you know. Just then, he's devoured by the Anaconda while Amanda finally manages to blow up the orchid mine and makes her way out of the jungle of death with the remaining survivors. But is this the end of the nightmarish mutated anacondas? I doubt so. Lake Placid vs. Anaconda, 2015. Imagine a place where the calm waters of a lake hide a monstrous secret, and the forest's quiet is broken by the hiss of a deadly predator. This is the setting of Lake Placid vs. Anaconda, a thrilling tale of survival and battle between two of nature's most feared creatures. The story unfolds in the sleepy town of Black Lake, Maine, where we see humans tinkering with nature and playing God. After surviving a reptilian attack, Jim Bickerman, a poacher, now sporting an eye patch, a hook for an arm, and a wooden leg. Jeez, humans never learn from their mistakes, so he joined forces with a pharmaceutical company this time. Together with another mercenary Beach, they capture a giant female crocodile to conduct cross-breeding experiments. The scientists inject the crocodile's blood into a female anaconda to create a perfect blood orchid serum. But we know how these daring experiments go wrong. The crocodile breaks free and escapes and unleashes not one but two deadly male anacondas and a female anaconda not far from civilization. The chaos causes the truck to explode and toast the barbed fence that kept the fearsome creatures in Black Lake. Although Beach and Bickerman save themselves, the deadly creatures run amok not far from civilization. The hungry crocodiles soon begin their killing spree, leaving bodies in their wake. Along with the anacondas, they make their way to the Clear Lake. Now it's up to the town sheriff Reba and the wildlife service officer Tully to stop the beast's murderous rampage. Black Lake, once a quiet town, now faces a double threat as the beasts devour everything in their path and leave no survivors behind. Only the strongest will live to see another day in this battle of fangs and scale. It remains to be seen whether the humans can reclaim the town or whether they become mere footnotes in the bloody history of this clash of titans. Anaconda 2024. The sixth installment in the Anaconda movie franchise was released in March this year. It was a Chinese remake of the OG 1997 classic with a little twist here and there, but it bears the same title. While the 1997 flick follows a film crew on the search for an indigenous tribe in the murky waters of the rainforest, the 2024 remake tells the story of a group of circus performers who, on the way to what they thought was their gig location, become helpless and beached in a rainforest after their boat is destroyed. The captain of the ship becomes the food of an anaconda with red markings. However, the circus crew soon encounters a poacher who tells them their gig site is a 2-day hike through the forest. But unbeknownst to the gang, the poacher is trying to fry the bigger fish here, in this case, a snake. He's hawking the anaconda and wants to capture the slithering beast, even if it means using the circus crew as bait. Sometimes there are more dangerous humans on Earth than dangerous animals. Well, mostly. I never met a cat I didn't like. Humans, not so much. Marvelous verdict. For fans who love the movies with gory kills and just the right dash of comedic relief, Anaconda and Anaconda Hunt for the Blood Orchid are certainly worth watching. While Anaconda Trail of the Blood is fast-paced and fun, although subpar in CGI, sometimes the snakes look too animated and sometimes too woody. Each movie offers bizarre kills as the hungry serpents uncoil, slither menacingly, and keep you engrossed. So, there you have it, folks. The Anaconda Saga. A slithering symphony of chaos, bad accents, and reptilian drama. Because when life gives you snakes, why not make a blockbuster? And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks, everyone.